Good evening, class. Before we get right into it, I just want you guys to know that I may take a quick pause to drink some water because my mom made some really spicy chili, and it's just been irritating my throat when I talk too long. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So my persuasion speech topic is: does technology affect child development negatively? So should we be worrying about technology when it comes to child development? Well, before we get into it, let me summarize the definition of child development. So, as a child, as an adolescent, over time, they start growing not only physically, but mentally. And technology, believe it or not, could actually play a really big role in that, whether it be positively or negatively. And yes, technology could be positive, it could affect them positively if used correctly and if not overused. And what do I mean by overuse? So unlike us adults, for kids, they have to spend really less time compared to how we spend it all day, because it could, like I said, affect them negatively. Which is why I want to bring it up because we're in a pandemic, and a lot of people, especially children, when it comes to school, they have to rely on technology. And not even just that, like just with the pandemic, maybe they're not allowed. Playgrounds are closed, so they can't really play outside. So a lot of kids these days, they just rely on technology when it comes to not just education but entertainment as well. So that's why I want to kind of persuade you guys. If you guys have little siblings, you know, little cousins, just any if you know any little like adolescents from the ages like 3 to 12, like just please like let them know what I'm about to tell you. So when it comes to the overuse and misuse of technology, it could affect them negatively. So my three main points is it could harm a child's attention span. My second main point is going to be about how it could affect them negatively and kind of deprive them and like not teach them how to self control. And then my third main point is going to be, and it could also even hurt their physical and mental health. So let's just get into the first main point, which is how technology can harm a child's attention span. So let me just read this quote. I quoted from an article. So according to Tamina in the article page, your therapy source, if a child spent over 2 hours on technology, such as phones or tablets, they were 5 times more likely to exhibit clinically significant externalized behavioral problems, such as inattention. Excuse me. So that basically means when the inattention is for, I'm gonna give you an example to explain it. So for example, if I'm just like trying to call my little cousin, for example, but she's on the tablet, she's probably either ignoring me or just like actually did not hear what I just said. And so it happens a lot, and maybe it looks minor, but in the long run, it could greatly impact your child negatively by affecting their social skills and just like their attention span. Secondly, believe it or not, the overuse, it was actually tested, the overuse of technology, especially in children around preschool age, if they spent over 2 hours on screen, they were 7 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD. And if you guys don't know what ADHD is, some of the symptoms for it is, like I said, it's actually inattention, hyperactivity, and just many more symptoms. And it's crazy to think that the overuse of screen time for especially preschool students, where for the overuse, it's considered over 2 hours. Over 2 hours, if a child that age was on screen over 2 hours, they were 7 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD, which kind of blows my mind. And then my third point is the quickness of technology can affect your child's patience and attention span, which they expect now everything is gonna be quick. So for example, like it's so quick to like pull up a video, just search up a tab or anything, right? But believe it or not, this could actually affect your child's patience along with your attention span. Um, which is why it's important to monitor children when it comes to being on technology, because like I said, it could cause inattention, more likely to have ADHD as well, which involve those symptoms. So my second main point is to be how technology can greatly impact a child's self-control. So self-control is basically, excuse me, when it comes to self-control, they say even though, for example, if you give a crying child a tablet or phone or anything that involves technology to like kind of just like calm them down, believe it or not, you may stop the crying, but it can actually affect them negatively because you deprive the child from the lessons on how to self-control. This could lead to the child to remain emotionally immature and believing that it could have anything it wants at any time because of technology. So like I said, it could lead to the child being emotionally immature and could lead to tantrums in the future. As years go by, it could lead to them having tantrums and just anger issues. It could even lead them to bullying other children because they're so used to just having like the technology right there. And it could also affect their coping skills negatively. What I mean by coping skills is, for example, say like I have my ice cream cone and I drop it. I would be pretty bummed out, but there's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do with technology, since they expect the technology to be there all the time and the overuse it, they start getting addicted and start relying on it. So now like their coping skills, and say if a child had problems with coping skills, if they drop the ice cream cone like I did, for example, then they would, lose it. So it's actually it's pretty severe in the long run. So my last main point is gonna be how too much screen time can affect a child's physical and mental health. So not only can it affect them mentally, but can even affect them physically because a child because the overuse of technology could later lead to addiction. Like basically, like they're addicted to the screen. So addicted to like screen time, such as like being on phones and tablets, could actually deprive them from going outside or just even playing around in the house, just like being active because they're so into like the just any apps or like YouTube or stuff like that on tablets and phones, which is kind of sad because like a kid has to be active because that's how they grow and develop. And yeah, like I said, it can even increase the chances of a child experiencing depression, which is it's just sad to think that a child experiencing depression it's even possible. And that's what happens when they're on the screen too much and not being physical. So yeah, in conclusion, I just want to let you guys know, I just want to persuade you guys to, to like kind of like if you do have slow siblings or just like little kids, if you know any little kids, just like please try to monitor them because if when you monitor them, you could greatly positively help them physically and mentally. Because like I said, the overuse, and please like when I say monitoring how much they use it. For example, like preschool kids, they said over 2 hours was too much. As they get older, maybe it could increase a little bit, but please monitor how much they use technology. And not even just the time, monitor what they're watching because watching inappropriate things could lead them to a really dark path, and which I hope that can never happen to any kid. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you.